Open state. You stand in the line waiting to vote. Underfoot dust stares and makes you choke. Guards attack the mutterers somewhere back, and the front don't seem to get any more slack. What them people doing with the cameras here? Don't they know that it don't help to point and stare? But then they are rich whites and have a voice, not stuck here in this line without a choice. Some in our land will not be given a chance. We here must try and hold motionless stance, so that when, if, the line moves, we say, no to Mugabe and his thugs today. For this we dare not openly state in our land, for democracy is just a word, not an open hand. When he comes back, as we all know he will, death's not an option, but we welcome it still. Rather than be beaten or even worse but survive, for the beaters don't notice the squatting child. His thugs don't relent when they maim and worse. Life in our new Africa is a terrible curse. Yes, there are some that get quality land, retrieved from old family, white man. But we all know hype, even those that can't write. We have to be animals to get our hands on land that is worth farming and will keep us alive. But that's only if we are from the right tribe. White man, you left us having given us rights and more sophisticated weapons to fight. But you forgot to educate, now we're confused. And as your last gift, you lit the slow fuse. Tribe against tribe as Africa screams in pain, but we cannot go back to our old ways again. Will South Africa come to our aid? So don't give us up, please keep the pressure up, even if it's political rhetoric fuck. Blair and the others just don't feel the pain, but we are grateful for the rhetoric is our longed for rain.
Wedded bliss. Happiness is a piness, thick, erect, a lance, stalked in my direction with its one eye on me pants. Happiness is its finesse, a throb between my thighs, with balls flap flap a slapping upon my cellulite. Tomorrow. In a world where despair paints it black, in a maze of piled-on, pilled-up days that make you worse, when love's left you stricken and you're reaching for the rope, the knife, the end. Stay up to watch the dawn break and think on.
Ticking of clocks, holes in his life like a pair of old socks, no time to reflect, full martyr sinner, ticking past Harlow and Kenton and Pinner, counting the tiles on the roofs of the houses, passing like summer by girls in white blouses, women at windows, making no mark, skin lighting the dark, working the odds and sharing the slices of financial pies and pondering prices of gilts, bonds and stocks, leaving holes in his life like an old pair of socks, and inside his heart is the ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, toothbrush and flannel, nightdress and knickers, smiling forlornly at rasters and vicars, and hoping that someone will please recognise by her shape or a glance or the look in her eyes that somewhere inside she is holding a stranger, leaving her home, leaving the danger of deep disapproval of parents and brothers who've forgotten their love and are worried, while others with masks on their faces kick over the dust on their own faulty traces, carrying new life secretly, ventral, slowing the clock into Manchester Central, face at the window, face at the gate, remembering his face when she said she was late and nothing must stop for the ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, leaving the wife and the kids in their cots, spanning the water down to the docks, feeling the spray and the salt on your face, slipping the rope on the whole human race, acres of metal pushing its nose from the vast tidal wave, shunning the land and the home and the grave, slices of living each day leave you thinner, off to Zeebrugge, back home for dinner, rattling chains while the ghosts come in flocks, and all of your life set by ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks. Opens the pages, scratches on paper, hands over his life to someone whose eyes watch the lines as they narrow and taper. Rivers like promises, broad, cold and shallow, flash under the wheels. Forgotten tomorrow runs out of lies, then finds one to borrow, riding the back of time and its arrow, willing it onwards, make the connection. Mobile is ringing and bringing the promise of landslide election, rejoicing in money, prowess and deeds, as the ticking of clocks slide him gently to Leeds. But nowhere in sight are his real wants and needs, buried deep in his soul, crying under the rocks, where they can't be heard for the ticking of clocks. Ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks, ticking of clocks. Neat leather bag, holding a letter and several cards with the hope she'll get better, and her pocket holds triggers that fire in her mind the memory of faces she's leaving behind, like the washing peg doll made by her daughter. Tears of the Virgin her sister has brought her, that crumples along with a coin for the meter and the stub of a ticket from the old Empire Theatre, lining her pocket with decades and lives that she's lived in a silence that illness now mocks and allows her to hear the ticking of clocks as it pulls her along to her own destination, holding in hope from the last operation, but knowing inside the piece of her heart has already died, and her hands shake like leaves as she holds the cold cup and waits for the rest of her life to catch up in a final reflection, as the clock pulls her onwards through Stainforth and Settle, then over the moors to make the connection with the last train to Lourdes. And as the clock ticks to dust in the finest of powder, the tick in her head becomes louder and louder, until all she can hear as her life sways and rocks is the ticking and ticking and ticking of clocks.